of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is Express Yourself with the Professor. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express Yourself live on Global Radio 99.5 FM.
Good afternoon, Bahamas. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. It's a great day to be in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, you know. I love living in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We have some issues to deal with, and my topic today will be safety and protection of the Bahamian people. Are you safe in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? Can you go anywhere at any time and be safe from harm, from crime, from being attacked, being robbed, being shot at? Mind you, the Constitution guarantees you those things, you know. Protection outlined for the Bahamian people, and we have different agencies to do something, and speak about those agencies as we go through the show today. Are you safe in your own home? Well, the man say you lock the door and you go in your bed, but some people come right to your door or come to your window. I heard we had some incidents occurred in the past where they tap on the people's window. And then someone gets up, opens the door, and it's a stranger or someone that is known. In fact, we have things happening to people who they know. You mean you can't trust people who you know now? We heard some incidents just recently where females out with some other people, persons who they know, and some they don't know, but basically those who they know. And they find themselves riding in a car with someone, and all of a sudden they fall asleep and they're somewhere else. The man's supposed to be taking them home, take them somewhere else. How safe are you with your friends, Bahamians? You go riding out with them. They go flying down Shirley Street, East Street, Rosetta Street, all these streets in New Providence where people like to open up speed and their cars and their trucks and their buses and whatever else they do. And so when that happens, what do you do, Bahamians? How do you stay away from that kind of thing? Are you safe with your own friend? You say they're your friends. What kind of friend is that? Speeding down Shirley Street at 90 miles an hour. Give me a break, man. You think that's fun? When you're all broken up? And some don't survive. How safe are you when you catch the bus? I've heard some funny things happening on these buses where children are being accosted and taken advantage of. Loud music on the buses. You're trying to relax yourself as you go from point A to point B. You're paying for the ride. You're paying for the service. But are you getting the service? The answer is no. How safe are you in that bus? And you say something to the driver, he doesn't hear you because the music is so loud. Or he might misunderstand what you're saying. Are we testing these people out? These public transportation personnel? How often are they being tested? Their hearing. I can tell you in my own area where I live in Fort Wayne Castle, the confusion of noise. And I asked myself, would the police allow these people to open up like this in front of Government House, or where the deputy, well, not deputy, but where the Prime Minister lives, or where any of the ministers of this government live. This noise is day and night, 7 days a week. And it's annoying because you can't even hear your own radio when you cut it on. You have to shut it off because the noise on the outside is so loud and so boisterous, and they're singing a lot of crap. People ain't got nothing in their head, just junk, garbage. So what do you expect? People cannot grow from that. They can only go down on a downward trend. And that's where we are today, on a downward trend. Where are the safety measures in place? The police are supposed to be enforcing the law. Do you have to tell them? Do you have to remind them? They see it every day. They come into Fort Wayne Castle every day, all this crap going on. The noise is deafening, and it's affecting my ears too. When I see my doctor again, I have to ask him to check my ears out. Because this noise is unbearable. And at some point, don't wait until you lose your hearing, because they can't give it back to you. Do you know that? Once the damage is done, it's done. That's like they march you up in the street. In fact, just yesterday, I went to do some business on Shirley Street. On Shirley and Charlotte Street, I was crossing, heading east. And the fellow was heading west on Shirley Street. And we almost had a collision. You think I want to pass someone who could harm me? I said, no, you go. I just wait for him to go. At least I'll be clear of him. When something like that happened, that was a possible accident, which I avoided by the grace of God. Never cross a person like that, because they could, the foot slips off the brakes, then what? And they think they're pressing brakes, they're pressing gas, run straight into you and mash you up. Then they label it an accident. How safe are you crossing the street in a busy downtown area? But you got all kinds of pedestrian crossing right there, Charlotte and Shirley Street. But they don't want to wait. They want to keep driving at such a fast rate, and they have no respect for pedestrians. None. I happened to be walking at that time. How safe are you? Well, the taxis now, that's another problem again. They don't cater to Bahamians. Do you know that? The taxi business doesn't cater to the average Bahamian. You get off from work in the night, can't get no taxi. You call for one, they don't show up. But they know how to go after white tourists. That's what they're interested in serving. Tourists. The light-skinned tourists. Not people that look like them. And if you were a tourist and you look like them, they might think you're a Bahamian. And they don't pick you up. They drive past you. And I think that is a disgusting thing. Like taxi cab drivers. They after getting off 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, or at any point in the night, if they are operating. Can't get them. Why? You have to call somebody to pick you up, and sometimes that can be extremely difficult. I can tell you from experience, even with people who you know. And some of our people are extremely lazy and sloppy. They are not prepared to move in the event of an emergency. Bahamians are extremely slow when it comes to emergencies. They don't act quickly. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. And you know what happens? People die. People suffer. And then they'll turn around and say, I didn't know it was that serious. What do you mean you didn't know it was that serious? You got a dead body on the ground or in jail. Bahamians, are you safe when you go to the hospital? How do you know you're getting the right medication? Except what someone tells you, well, this is what you should be taking. How do you know that? How do you protect yourself against that kind of thing, getting the wrong medication? Somebody makes a mistake, put the wrong thing in the wrong bag, hand it to you, and you took it, and you say that's your medication. And it end up having a negative effect on you. And then what people do, they back off. They won't admit that they gave you the wrong medication, you know. They blame you, but the medication came from them. How safe are you, Bahamians? Where's your protection from the Royal Bahamas Police Force? The Royal Bahamas Police Force is responsible for the safety of the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Well, they're supposed to keep us safe. That's what they tell me. I see them walking around all over the place, but they don't pay any attention to us in Fort Gasol. They don't pay attention to the citizen. They run after the white tourists. That's what they run after. Something happened to one of them, they fall on the ground or get injured. Bing! They're there. But a black Bahamian falls on the ground and hurts himself. It takes 2 years or 3 years or 5 years before they get to you. I've seen that happen over and repeatedly. They show no interest whatsoever in the average Bahamian. None. Not only is happening in my area, but other areas. You can talk about what's happening in your area. But there's hardly anything happening for the residents of Fort Gasol when it comes to the Royal Bahamas Police Force. The last time we had any assistance from police was when Stephen Dean, Superintendent Stephen Dean, was in charge of urban renewal. And since they removed him, everything died when he left. The police don't have any rapport with the people in Fort Gasol. But they're supposed to be looking after us, right? They're supposed to be keeping you safe. That ain't happening, Bahamians. So where's your safety, where's your protection from the Royal Bahamas Police Force? Because I don't get none. I've lived there all my life. I don't get any. They act like they don't even know you. They pass you straight like they don't know you. That is the way they behave. And I don't like it. And something needs to be done about it. The problem with people is if you don't challenge it, nothing happens. You have to fight for what you want. Even though they had a bunch of crap around here, some of them don't make any sense anyhow. What's the point of your protection? Now listen, they tell you can't burn no fire, right? In the community. We used to do that years ago. Light it. Make sure it doesn't, you don't do it when it's windy or anything like that. Or put it in a barrel, burn it, and it turns to ash. Now when you try to keep your property clean, you got to buy heavy-duty bags. You have to get someone to do it for you if you're not able to do it for yourself. And in our area, we have senior citizens who need help in keeping their properties clean. And that help is not readily available to them. Let me make that very clear. I know a particular senior citizen right in my area, just almost opposite me, who was sick and had to live through a bunch of crappy noise on both sides, the east side and the west side, and couldn't get the kind of rest because of the constant noise that is constantly happening in the community. When they ain't playing this, what they call music, which is crap, they're playing a lot of nonsense, putting it in their heads. That's why their heads are so empty. It affects the children, it affects the parents, it affects the community. And it's going to affect our hearing. And I hope we can do something about it before it is too late. Too many of us sit back and do nothing. We always want somebody else to do it for us, while we sit back in the dark and make no effort to help improve the quality of life on the ground in the community where you live. Now, when you're coming home in the nighttime, the lights off, how safe for you? The lights went off yesterday, by the way, in Portland Castle. In fact, when I went back home, the lights were out. So how are you to be safe when the streets have no lights? You have to either walk home, or you may catch a ride near to your house, but not directly to your house. Someone say, I'll drop you off. And that's rather risky. People dropping you off. Black area, no lights whatsoever. That's a recipe for crime. And while the Prime Minister made some statements about PPL and the outdated equipment and how the things need to be upgraded, that's all well and good. But the safety and protection of the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas overrides all of that. The government has a responsibility to make sure that the people are safe while this is going on. And they're the ones that have the responsibility to do it, to balance it out. You can't have the people going home in the dark and they're attacked, they're brutalized, they have no safety. Police never around, you know. In a lot of these instances, police never around. You can't find them. Let me make that point clear. Look at all the traffic congestion in the road, man, on all these major cities. Don't you think the traffic police ought to know now where the problems are? And you can't find one of them at these intersections. Not a living one of them. But they're getting paid every month. And they're around walking in these strips of cloth, what they call uniform. That means nothing to me. The streets are heavily congested with traffic. And by this time, don't you think the police should have enough sense to know where the blockage is and have police in place when the lights go out? When there are accidents in these communities, everything all blocked up. And you have some uncooperative people out there, you know. They want to hit you and then run. That creates another problem. When they're supposed to wait until the police come, sometimes the police don't come. And that's another problem you got there. They don't show up. So what are you supposed to do? Take matters into your own hand? Because that's what some people do, you know. And that is another problem that we have to deal with. So you have problem after problem after problem. Where is your protection from the police? Where's your safety, Bahamians? How safe are you while you're on those streets? Tremendous congestion of traffic. And I know it's in Fort Wayne Castle. Let me speak to Fort Wayne Castle again. Tremendous congestion of traffic. Ain't got no space for pedestrians to walk properly. And those of us who live in there have our own vehicles. You have difficulty getting out. I noticed yesterday a whole both sides of the road line up blocking entrances to people's private property. Let's take over the road. These people who ride in these vehicles without doors and windows. Let's park anywhere they want to park. And you're supposed to be satisfied with that kind of crappy foolishness? You don't see the police around. They're not present. So I am saying that we, as citizens of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, have to question, where is our safety? How safe are you on the street? How safe are you in your home? That's your residence. That's where you sleep. That's where you do your private business. And yet people are coming into your private space, invading it, like they're doing with this loud, crappy music. But they won't allow that to happen in front of Government House. They won't allow it to happen in front of the police. The police know what's going on in there, you know. So what are they doing about it? Nothing. Nothing at all, as if it's just okay, let them carry on. But they'll have to be stopped. I can tell you that right off the top. Because I do not intend to constantly be violated every single day. My constitutional rights are being violated. My statute rights are being violated. It's invasion of my space, man. You come into Fort Wayne Castle with all this crappy noise, loud noise. If you want customers who want to hear this crap, then you should have a facility set up where you have bulletproof, not bulletproof, but soundproof equipment, where those who want to hear the crap could enter your premises and they'll hear it. But you blasting all over the place. Early in the morning, all during the day, and into the evening time. And we are there having to bear this nonsense, this foolishness every single day. And it doesn't seem as if the police are so blind to it that somebody got to complain about it first. Are they moving around all the time in the community? What are the police there for? To do what? Just to get paid to do nothing? Just walk up and down the street? Or ride up and down the street? Some of them don't even come out their cars. The point is, are you safe in the water? Now, some people go for a swim. They jump off the boat, and something happened. So the person becomes unresponsive. That's the word they use now today. How did he become unresponsive? He wasn't unresponsive before he jumped off in the water. But all of a sudden he hit the water, he becomes unresponsive. What happened? He can't get a safe swim in the clean water in the Commonwealth of Bahamas. Or did an animal in the water attack him? You have a couple of them to do that, you know. But he's found unresponsive. They got to pull him on back into the boat bring him to shore. People do first aid on him, and then try to get him to the clinic or the hospital for assistance. Now, all during that time is very important. Every second counts. And then here's another thing. I was on the street the other day, and the ambulance had a rough time trying to get through the traffic. Do you understand what I'm saying, Bahamians? Someone was in that ambulance, and the ambulance kept its siren on. And some of these stupid people would not get their backside to the side of the road to allow the ambulance to go through. I was very displeased with that. People don't seem to understand the importance of an emergency. You don't know, that could be your mother, that could be your sister, that could be your brother. That could be a family, well, it is always a family relative to somebody. And as Bahamians, we all brothers and sisters, but we don't look at life like that. That ain't my sister, that ain't my brother. Of course, that's your sister and that's your brother. We're one nation under God. One nation united in love and unity. But people will not get their butt out of the way and allow the ambulance to go through. I was very displeased with that. And the ambulance had to detour around them to get through and continue on. But every second counts. So while he was sitting there, with that ambulance, the siren wailing, time ticks away. And it could be a matter of life and death. Just by a few seconds. He didn't get there in time, so the person passes out. So you have some people who are in the way, who are blocking progress. What do you do with these people who are blocking progress? Stumbling blocks in the way of progress. So getting back to the water again now, the fella dives, goes in the water. One fella was diving for count the other day. He went down for count. And all of a sudden he became, quote unquote, unresponsive, whatever that's supposed to mean. But he wasn't unresponsive before he got in the water. And there's an incident that occurred in the United States, I believe, where the father was on the radio and he's explaining to the public what happened to his son. That was a sad story. Young man went out with quote unquote friends. Baby, you got to be careful of these people they call friends. Are they your friends when you get into difficulty? You'll know who really is a friend. If you run into a brick wall or you run into some situation that you need assistance from them to help you at a critical time in your life. How many friends do you have like that? Are they only your friends when they drinking liquor, smoking dope, having a little party, and then they do some other funny things, which I cannot say on the air? That's the kind of friend you want? Or having someone who will be there to assist you in the event of an emergency and who would look after your welfare, to make sure you are safe, to make sure you're comfortable. How many people are like that? Then you got people who jump on the plane. They don't know the state of the pilot. He took a puff of smoke before he got on the plane. We don't know that. See, there are so many variables when it comes to safety in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You don't know the condition, the mindset of that pilot. Some people had a scare. Now, this didn't happen in the Bahamas. I hope it never does. But I'm going to refer to it anyhow. Where one who locked the door to the cabin, and this plane was way up in the sky, must be 30,000 feet or 28,000 feet up, very high. And he went on a tirade. He didn't open the door. The other co-pilot or pilot could not get in. And guess what the man did? He ran straight into the mountain. And all of those people died because of a bad decision made by a psycho in the pilot's seat. Now, how many of them are around today? You don't know until it happened, right? So we have to find a way to protect the interests of the passengers who jump on these airplanes, and they ain't sure about the condition of that pilot who sits in the cockpit. They're only hoping that he'd be okay, but you don't know. Do we have any way of testing them on a regular basis to make sure that air travel is safe? Don't forget now, we had 10 men down all at one time. And these were some persons with tremendous talent and ability. We lost all of them. So Bahamians, we have to look at what is happening to us. How safe are you in the sky, in the water, on land? What protective measures need to be taken to deal with those persons with the transportation of the public, whether by land, by sea, or by air? We have to look at these things, Bahamians, because a lot of us suffered heavily. We have many bad experiences, and I always ask myself, are we learning anything? I don't think we are, because it keeps happening over and over and over again. This is Professor Sidney McGarter-Walton. I'm talking about the safety and protection of Bahamian people and what we can do to make sure that we get from point A to point B in safety. How can we make sure that that happens? What you can do as a private citizen. This is Professor Sidney McGarter-Walton Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
Wake up every weekday on 99.5 FM
This is Steve Harvey, your main man.
with a Steve Harvey Morning Show.
This is Sasha calling from Portland, Oregon. Nephew Tommy, I didn't know that was you that was on the show, Ready to Love. Nephew Tommy, you are cute. Ooh, Nephew Tommy. All that light-skinned beautifulness.
Thank you, man.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, let me clear that up for y'all. The reason she didn't know is because, see, he got so much sense on that show.
Weekday morning from 6 to 10. Let's go. Over here on
99.5 FM. I'm out.
Ready to make this school year the most stylish one yet? Head over to Brass and Leather, Charlotte Street or Marathon Mall, and the Luggage Store Centerville. Upgrade your look with iconic backpacks from Kipling, Herschel, Stephen Joseph, or the all-leather from Land. Plus, get rewarded. Buy any backpack or wheel backpack from the Total Ace Hall collection and get an exclusive gift with purchase. Don't wait. Gear up in style today at the Brass and Leather Shop and the Luggage Store.
When power goes out, will your business survive the silence? Every second without power means lost sales, missed deadlines, and disappointed customers. With a Cat generator from Machinery and Energy Limited. You're not just buying equipment, you're investing in uptime, reliability, and peace of mind. Stay open, stay profitable, stay protected. Always on, always ready. Call Machinery and Energy Limited today, located on College Avenue, Oaksfield, at 323-5701, or visit me-ltd.com to protect what you've built.
Shop early to get your uniforms and get Sinead's Uniform Center's buy 4 get 1 free sale. Free monogrammed and regular school shirts, dry fit and cotton polos, jumpers, skirts, boys long and short pants, PE shorts, underclothes, tights, socks, neckties, belts, sleeping mats, hair accessories, and character work desks. Get 50% off backpacks, lunch bags, and raincoats. Buy 4 school shirts, get 1 free. Buy 2 skirts, jumpers, or pants, get the third 50% off. Need embroidery and monogramming done? Visit Janae's Uniform Center early. Beat the back to school rush. Janae's Chesapeake Road back to school special. Restrictions apply.
South Beach to Bay Street.
I'm pleased, I really dig your company.
It's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and Global Radio 99.5FM.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney McGrath of Thompson. Bahamians, I was thinking during the break. You mean to tell me, after all these years, I think majority rule, that would be 60 years. 60 years from majority rule. We've had all these experiences regarding safety and the protection of the public on the land, on the sea, and in the air. And we have to ask ourselves, with all of the experiences that we have had, are we learning anything? Are we improving in anything? We should be in a position today where something like that would not ordinarily happen, particularly if you're on the ground. All kind of experiences happen there. But yet that's where most tragedy occurs, right on the ground. For example, with all the congestion we have on the streets of New Providence, people cutting in and out of traffic, hit and run, people not paying attention, and then when people get injured, very difficult for them to be compensated. Now, the man may be taken to court, he may get a custodial sentence. How does that help the person who has been injured? Don't forget the dogs now. Now, these pot cake dogs don't be attacking people. So I don't believe that pot cake dogs bother. Because pot cake dogs have been around me from the time I know myself. I've never known any of them to attack anybody. But we got some people with some vicious animals who they bring into the street. Some of them got a long chain. Some of these are little youngsters, children, teenagers, young people. The dog pulling against them, they're not able to keep the animal under proper control. And some people have been bitten badly, attacked badly by these dogs. Where's your protection when you walk in the street? How do you know that you're going to be safe as you move from point A to point B? Because some people got to walk. Like a fella like me, I got to walk. Not that I don't want to walk, I just have to. Of course, it gives me some exercise as well. Now, of course, the blistering heat, that's another thing again. So one has to be very careful. They keep warning us about when the temperature goes up. And these are some unusual times with the heat wave. This is the third year of the heat wave. And it's the hottest ever. One caller said yesterday, all kind of hot water coming out the pipe. You don't need no heat on anymore. There was this hot water coming out of the pipe. So the point is, where is your protection? Where can you be safe? How can you ensure the safety of your children? School is going to be opening. I think some schools are already open. A lot of children will be on the streets, walking to school. Some will have parents or persons drop them to school. That's fine. That's all well and good. But plenty are going to be walking. Where is their safety and their protection? They should walk to the side. Yes, I have no problem with that. But there are some people that run off the road and come on the sidewalk. I felt with me yesterday, crossing across, edited pedestrian crossing, Charlotte Street and Shirley Street. A fellow just dashing through Charlotte Street. So these are things that happen, and people can be seriously injured or killed. And that's a tragedy for the family. What about the breadwinner? Coming home, close up the shop. He's a shopkeeper. Close up the shop. And he's about to get in his car, and someone comes along, robs him, shoots him. Now, let's say they may not have intended to shoot him or to kill him, but in the process of shooting the owner of the store, he dies. So the family loses a breadwinner. Because there are some other repercussions that occur when a person like that passes off the scene. Where is his protection? As he leaves the store, jumps in his car to go home to his family. You know how many people will tell their family members, I can see you later? Or the husband will tell the wife, I'm going to see you later today. Or the son or the daughter tell mommy or daddy, I'm going to see you later. And for some reason or another, it doesn't work out that way. See, the problem is you don't know when these things are going to happen. But I believe we have had enough experiences over the past 60 years, from the time of majority rule right on up to now, that there's some things we can avoid from occurring if we exercise caution and restraint. And when you have to depend on others to be responsible, that could be a problem. Because you got a lot of irresponsible people out there. So how do you negate against that? How can the authorities be more effective in their responsibility for your safe passage from point A to point B? There's all kind of funny things happening these days. And they write it off and say that's an accident. It could be something else. And then, of course, you know, the police are always investigating things. And some of these investigations, you never the end of them. You never hear what happens. They don't ever report back. You just know they're investigating. I'm thinking of an incident now that was to be investigated. And several commissioners moved in that chair and came out of it. Still, we don't know the end of the investigation. They're still investigating, I guess. Or maybe they run into a brick wall and can't go no further. But they didn't tell the public that. But just tell the public, we're investigating. And we will let you know when whatever comes up. Maybe nothing turn out. But some people just disappear. Just like that. You blink your eye, bing, they're gone. So they're still, I guess, investigating, according to them. Now, how much consolation that gives the family, that's a different kettle of fish altogether. But people would like to know what happened. And sometimes one may run into a dead end. You're not able to go further because maybe there's not further information for the authorities to work on. Or they run into a brick wall. And you have some other factors involved which may prevent some things from happening. But overall, the police force is supposed to be responsible for the security of the nation. That's in your Constitution. Now you got the Defense Force. Defense Force is supposed to be responsible for the borders of the country. That means they're out on the sea. And it has been said that they've been doing a good job in trying to protect the borders of the country. We haven't heard of any, in recent time, arrests of foreigners, immigration issues, where people come into the country illegally. We haven't heard of any mass deportation, although the United States, as I understand, the temporary status of a lot of people have been cut, and they are now in the business of sending them out of the country. I don't see that happening here. Now, we got all kinds of strangers in this place, you know. All kinds of strangers. Where is your protection against them who want to harm you? Where is it? How can you be safe in your own country when you got all kinds of nameless, faithless people? Not faceless, that's what I said. Faceless people. Who are not known, committing crimes in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We can never find out who did what. How serious are the securities, the people who are in charge of security in this country, are able to protect the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas with the resources they have, with the training they have, with all the know-how they have. We got some people doing some funny things in here. There are some people who gave us a black eye, a black mark, and that affects the entire country. How can we be protected against that? Now, the police supposed to be doing some investigations on some things, and then some others outside the country are doing investigation because they got them under their control. And some of these are high-ranking personnel who had authority to do some things. Reports were out there, large amounts of cocaine, tons of cocaine passing through the Bahamas. Who did it go to? Who's responsible for it? And we never seem to get an exact answer when things like that happen. You just hear these statements, tons of cocaine. Who got the tons of cocaine passing through the Bahamas, passing through the airport? Who got it? We don't hear that part of the argument. But by the mere fact that that kind of stain is on us and being said publicly in different reports, it gives us a bad reputation. Now, how can we protect ourselves against that kind of image? Because that hurts the country for years to come. That ain't no small nut to crack. That's a big one. It's a serious one. What kind of future are we going to have? What are authorities going to do to protect us against that kind of activity? because people want to live in a peaceful, safe environment. And then when you travel abroad, that's another thing again. People look at you with a squinted eye. You from the Bahamas. And then they think about all the negativity that they may have read or heard or understood would have happened in our country, outside our country, by certain persons who were acting, quote, acting on behalf of the Bahamian people, but were doing some other things. And now they have to be investigated. Again, where's our national security? How safe are you? If you were to run into problems when you are abroad, you do nothing to nobody, you know. But something can come up unbeknown to you that you are not aware of. And all of a sudden you could be caught right in the midst of it. It's not anything you may have done wrong. It's just that an accusation may have been placed against you. That's one thing. And you don't know anything about it. How do you protect yourself against that? What are the remedies, Bahamians? Because some Bahamians are in some foreign countries. They ain't out yet. We got a Ministry of Foreign Affairs. What's taking them so long? And when you have people say there's nothing they can do, what do you mean there's nothing you can do? It is the duty of the government of the day to protect those citizens who find themselves in difficulties for whatever reason abroad. What's the point of having a government that can't protect you, that cannot look out for your welfare? Because things can happen, unbeknown to you. We've had incidents where people have died in foreign countries. We still don't know what happened to them. We know they're dead. They bring the bodies back here. But the details of what went down, the government is involved in it too. And we still don't know up to this day what happened. I'm thinking of an incident now with two of them. Found in them dirty waters in Italy. Two of our young Bahamian sons. I don't think they threw themselves off the bridge, but that's where they were, floating in this dirty water. We do not know yet what happened to them. We had the ambassador from, our ambassador in London was looking into it at the time. We haven't heard about anything about it in recent time, but we know they're dead. We know that fact. So the point is, there are things that happen to us abroad in other countries, and we're not sure. A quick resolution by the authorities here for the protection of Bahamian citizens abroad. It's always a dilly-dallying situation, and the families suffer. The individual involved, or individuals involved, they suffer. And I'm not talking about whether they did anything right or whether they did anything wrong. It's just that it's the duty of the government, through its agencies, particularly Foreign Affairs, to protect the interests of its citizens. And the question is, are we getting that when situations come up? Are we getting it at home? Because many things happen right here on this island against law-abiding citizens. You know what I've noticed in this country? Law-abiding citizens get the hardest knocks. We who obey the laws of the country, when our rights are being trampled on left, right, and center, and you struggle to get it remedied, and you have all the difficulty under the sun to get it resolved. All kind of delays. This delay, that delay, the next delay. But those who are violators of the law have a field day. And then you have to ask yourself, what's the point of the law? Is it lack of enforcement of the law? Is it they're moving too slow? The police supposed to do their part? The judiciary is responsible for administering punishment. And this nonsense about sentences running concurrently, have you ever thought about that? The man kills one person. Okay? He turn around and kill two more. And the court is going to tell you and me these sentences against this particular person, that the court has found them guilty, will run concurrently. 3 dead people. As if he's being sentenced for just one. The other two, no sentence for them. Because they all, quote unquote, running concurrently at the same time. Does it make any sense? And we've heard that kind of terminology used frequently, not only in murder cases, but in other cases that happen to people. Is that real justice? And then they call they have this plea bargain thing. I don't quite understand what that's all about. But I do know this. There are people in our midst who are violating the law, offending law-abiding citizens in this country, our rights, put them before the courts to get redress on them. And then the man can say all these can run concurrently. How does that make the aggrieved family, the aggrieved person feel? The relatives are still dead. Maybe the relatives might be sick, injured in the hospital. Hospital bills got to be paid. Other medical bills have to be paid. It's a cost on the family. And all the family can get, he in jail. All the sentences run concurrently at the same time. What about compensation? Now that's another matter we seem not to be clear on. And I did mention about the dog situation because a number of people have been attacked by dogs. And in some instances, the dogs seem not to have any owners. But these wild dogs that attack people, these are not the pot cakes. The pot cakes don't fool around nobody. You offer some meat, they look after your house. You offer them water, they come right in your yard and drink the water. They don't bite nobody. They don't attack nobody. Now, these vicious dogs that people own and let them run loose, they're the ones that do the damage. I've known a person who was attacked viciously by dogs. They have to take all the expenses. So where's their protection? Reported to police. The person got the dogs right around. Huh? They haven't been eliminated. So what's going on here? No compensation to the person who has been aggrieved. There's your protection there. There are just so many things that are missing when it comes to the safety and the protection of our citizens in the Commonwealth of London. There are too many loopholes, too many gaps in the dispensation of justice. We have to do something about these things. Because I want to be safe, and I think you want to be safe. So I have to work together. The collective will of the people will prevail if we take the necessary precautions that are essential to keep us safe. This is Professor Sidney McCarter, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
Hey, it's Jeff Fox that rocks the box. Join me every week. We always have a good time. We've got some of the biggest stars of today's R&B stopping by to say hello. And of course, the best music in the city. There's only one place to be. Hanging out with me, Jeff Fox that rocks the box.
Locals 99.5 FM.
August is going to be epic at the Cricket Club on West Bay Street. Along with their already fantastic menu, it will also be Lobster Fest for the month of August. Lobster fritters, lobster bits, lobster salad, minced lobster, cracked lobster, lobster seafood pot pie, broiled lobster, lobster and steak, lobster. Experience the Lobster Fest at the Cricket Club on West Bay Street. They're open Sundays through Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. with live music on Friday nights. And there's a Sans Beer special, free for $11. So, for that same great food and fun and the August Lobster Fest, come to the Cricket Club, Haynes Oval, West Bay Street. Telephone 326-4720.
Back to school means back to John West. We have school shoes for toddlers to college kids. Teachers, we have shoes for you too, like heels and flat comfy shoes. And now introducing Hush Puppies. This iconic brand focuses on comfort and style. Don't forget, we also have a variety of your favorites, like slippers, sandals, Crocs, sneakers, including Reebok Classics, and even safety boots. Whatever your footwear needs, let us put shoes on your feet.
John West Shoe Company, located Carmichael Road West, Plaza behind the Walk-Up Wendy's. Contact us at 603.
Original Patty's Bakery Limited on Howell Road has lots of goodies waiting for you. Hot cross buns, Jamaica spice buns with cheese, escovite fried fish, tasty patties, jerk and pastries, the delicious weekend special of chicken and mutton roti. They're open Monday through Saturday from 6:45 a.m. to 8 p.m. You may not realize it, but the most important ingredient in their products is you. So hop on down to the place where quality is always job number one.
Miss, what you found that you're pulling for? Child Bahamas Liquidation just posted this flyer, and I already know where I'm going August 1st and what I going to get. What flyer? The 8 Baker and Sons 10 clearance sale. Wait, 8 Baker and Sons?
Yes, the finished ragged store on Bay Street. They're making way for new inventory, so they're bringing some stuff to Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center for a huge 10 clearance sale.
Really? What are they gonna have? Back to school basics like shirts, sweaters, pants, dresses, ties, and so much more. Ooh-wee, so we need to get there early before everybody else there. That's the plan. August 1st, don't be calling me in the morning because I'll already be shopping.
Starting August 1st, don't miss the A. Baker and Sons 10 clearance sale at Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center, Mackey Street, former Q Club building. Come on down and say hello to Goodbye.
From Cable Beats to Montague, it's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney McCarter, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. The aim is the lines are open, 326-0272, 813-0271, 502-4571. We must show interest in what's happening to us. We must show interest in what's happening in on our communities when it comes to your safety and your protection. We have too much trouble on the streets, which is mind-boggling. And many things are happening out there every single day. Massive traffic congestion. Too many things on the street. And even in Fort Finn Castle, I must speak to this again. We are heavily congested with all kinds of cars, all kinds of buses, all kinds of vehicles. The space is not getting any bigger. So our very lives are being negatively impacted with all this excessive traffic coming into this small community. Ain't no parking for them. So where they supposed to park? They make it very difficult for people like me to move around. In my own space, in my own community. They are invading my space where I live, and they bring their crap into my territory. You have a caller, Mr. Medusa? Call you live on air. Go ahead, please. Call you live on air. Yeah, go ahead, caller.
Yes, Professor, I've been listening to you.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, as time goes on, I am convinced that the powerful people and the authorities in the country don't realize what is happening. You know, when we look at it, we're on an eclipse of a total collapse or decay. In the old days, if you had a pot cake dog, that pot cake dog had to be licensed.
Yes, that's correct.
If you had a little prong bicycle, that had to be licensed.
Yes.
Motorbikes had to be licensed.
Yes.
You couldn't drive around in your Ford car with them 8-track tapes blasting.
Yes.
What is wrong? I am convinced that the people now in this 2026 Bahamas, we don't know what's going on. You couldn't have a vicious German Shepherd.
No.
If you had a German Shepherd in the neighborhood, you had that confined, and when that dog is out, you watch that dog. But now you find people carrying pit bulls on the beach with a little string.
Yes.
And the beach full of people.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, what's going on? I think what the people in the power need to do, be it Mr. Davis, Christie, Minnis, or Ingram, we need people to bring it to their attention of the things that are going on in this country, because I don't think the authorities are aware.
Okay.
And if you're not aware of something, you cannot address it. Everything seems to be falling apart. If I'm running a restaurant in the neighborhood, I blow the music up as long as I want. The neighbors, they can't hear the TV, and this goes on 7 days a week. If I want to make coal, I make coal. If I want to use the yard as a garbage disposal, I do all of this. Something is definitely wrong, and we need to get it right once and for all. And that's all I have to say.
Carl, I couldn't agree with you more. You're right on target with that. Yes, it would appear as if the authorities are not aware, according to the caller. But these people who were given the authority to run the place have the responsibility. Now, if they're not doing it, and it doesn't seem they're doing much to relieve us from the problems. She talked about the noise. This is a constant problem in Fort Fincastle. People blaring this loud music early in the morning, going into the evening time, all during the day. There's crappy stuff. I believe I have another caller. Call you live on air. Go ahead.
Brother Thompson,
Hey, what you saying?
what's happening today, man?
Man, I'm talking about safety and protection of the Bahamian people.
You're talking about safety and...
Protection.
Now, let me say something to you, Brother Thompson.
Yes, sir.
And to the nation. We, the Bahamian people, I don't know about them foreigners, alien, and what you call them. I'm talking about us, the Bahamian
Strangers,
people.
foreigners, aliens, and outsiders.
Yeah, we are our biggest problem. We are the problem until we could accept that we are the problem. Brother Thompson, if a man comes into your country illegal, he can't find no place to live, he can't find no place to eat, he can't find no place to sleep, he can't find no place to work, he ain't staying there. But we are hiring them and then we're complaining about them.
Who's giving these permits?
But
these
these people don't have no permit, Mr. Thompson.
But no, listen carefully. I know this to be a fact. You
I
got
can't
people.
hear you on the phone properly.
Mr. Blusa, can you have to call out? He says he's not able to hear me clearly. Can you? I don't know. My producer's trying to see what he can do now. Can you hear me now, caller?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. We have people with these scraps of paper called citizenship papers who ought not to have it. How did they get them?
But Brother Thompson,
How did they get them, caller?
Brother Thompson, I'm not even talking about the set with these paper. So you said they have no paper. But it's the set with the paper.
We have nameless, faceless people in this country. Yes, that is a problem.
You know, there are a lot of people, I'm not talking about you in particular, but there are a lot of people who talk about the illegals, but they only talk about the Haitians, only the Haitians are illegal. We have all different, we have Cubans, we have Chinese, we have illegal Americans here. We have the Bahamas has got to be God's great land because people die to come here, Brother Thompson.
But no, I agree with you. That's why they're coming, because we tend to be so slack in the way we run the affairs of this country.
But you, let me ask you something. You live in the Fort St. Castle area. You're
Yes.
familiar with East Street.
Yes.
How many Chinese you think we have here in the Bahamas? That's a guess. I know you wouldn't know exact. But now when I say the Chinese, I am not talking about the ones that come from China. I talk about the ones that are now was born here. They still Chinese. That's like the Asians, the ones. A lot of the Asians just come from Haiti here, you know. A lot of them born here, people still consider them as Haitians. So how many Chinese?
Wait a minute
people
now.
are Chinese?
Slow down, caller. Slow down. You say people consider them the Haitians, they are born here, Chinese born here, they are Chinese? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the Chinese. How many children you think the Chinese them that have here?
Boy, I know one thing for sure. You got with the Chinese structure of family, and you got sometimes 3 generations under one roof.
But listen to me, Brother Brother Thompson.
Yeah.
There's a place on the northern end of East Street. As soon as you break the hill, come down from Watermore County before you get to Mason Edition.
Yes.
That big thing the Chinese have there.
Yes.
Now listen, the southern East Street South, just before you get to the South Police Station, they have another big one of them, the same building.
Okay.
Them Wells building. And I want you one day when you have some time, count how many Chinese shop and restaurants are between those same 2 big buildings.
Okay.
And you'll be surprised. You will be surprised. And the Chinese them, see, why the Chinese those are getting away? The Chinese them are not filling up the government schools with no children. Most of them send their children to private school. If the Chinese do send their children to a government school, it can be Palmdale Primary. They ain't sending them over to Palmdale. They can be in Palmdale Primary. That can be about it. But most of the Chinese children, they go to private school.
Okay.
Most of the Greek children, they go to, you don't see no Greek children around no government school. And some of those Chinese and Greek, those, and they send their children to the best school. You'll see Cuban children in government school.
Yes.
You know, and I was studying this for, when I had my site 2020, yes. I was studying this now almost 8 years. Okay. That is why the Chinese them get away with so much. Well, how much Chinese you ever hear going to court in the last 10 years?
Not many, if any.
All right. But every morning you hear the news read off. Every other morning you hear these funny names.
Yes,
these
correct.
Francois, that.
Yes.
You know, so if okay, I can close on this, brother Thompson. You have a scorpion. You have a group of scorpions in you have a big snake behind your tub in the bathroom.
Right.
You have some termite biting up the boxing. And you have some cockroach every time you put something down with bread eating it. Who you can get rid of it?
I get rid of the snake.
Huh?
I get rid of the snake.
No, but the snake ain't bothering you. The snake behind the tub. You even didn't know that snake there. That snake
now, if you don't know, now, that's another thing right there. That's the difference. If you don't know the snake is
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
You bought it with the thing with it's keeping you in expense.
Yes.
which would be the roach, because every time you put out a loaf of bread, you got to buy that loaf of bread in the morning, so you got to get rid of the roach first.
Yeah, okay, all right.
That is the problem with the Haitians, the Jamaicans, the Chinese, and the different people that we have here.
Yes.
The Greeks and stuff, you ain't hear the Greek around the court. You ain't hear the Greek is no burden on the government. You ain't hear the Chinese are burden. The Haitians are a burden. That is why, and people say you always picking on them, but you're not picking on them. You're bothering with the thing that is
irritating,
costing you the most.
Yeah, okay, all right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
But I continue listening. I want your comment on that.
Yeah, okay, caller.
Yes,
I appreciate the call, and he has a perspective there. Yes, there are some that do things secretly, but it's just deceitful. That's just deceitful of those that are doing it out in the open, where it is clearly seen, because it's a violation of law. All right. Now, he did say that some of these persons send their children to private school, and he said they get away with a lot of things because of the way how they operate. That may very well be the case. I won't dispute that. But the point is, I think we have another call on the line. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Professor, I had to call back and respond to the gentleman thing. I agree with all those scenarios. What he said, it proves the point that the Bahamian populace and those in government, out of government, and who this country belongs to, we are totally out of reality and touch with the immigration problem.
Yes.
We should have a whole census as to who's here, whether they in the attic, whether they in the basement, whether they in the wash house, whether they in the clothes closet, under the bed. With that scene that he has painted, that is a dangerous scene because you don't know who's here, what they're doing, where they are. So we need to get our act together and go through this country with a fine-tooth comb to know who's here, what they're doing, how they got here, where they come from, and where are they going to leave. That is it.
Thank you, caller. I agree with the caller on that point and the caller before her. Yes, I listened to the analogy he gave, and he's right on target. The point is that there are some that do things secretly. It's contrary to law. It doesn't make it any better. And there are some who are boisterous and openly obnoxious with their behavior. You have that category of persons. And then you got other strangers in the country from other nations who are doing the same thing, some in the affluent areas, doing all kind of things which are illegal. But we have to get our authorities to be in a position where they can keep tabs on these things. And you have persons, let me just say this while I remember, you have persons given responsibility to take care of the national interests of the people of this country, whether they be in immigration, whether they be in customs, whether they be on the police force. But we have found out over years of experience that a lot of damage has been done, particularly to immigration, because I tell you, a lot of people around here with these fake pieces of paper called citizenship papers. Where did they get them from? And they're not Bahamian. They could never be Bahamian because the Constitution doesn't allow for it. And they be flouting these scraps of paper in the faces to taunt other people. Those reports have been coming across my desk. The point is, in the last election, I think the commissioner for the elections, I can't remember the name of the man right now, but it will come back to me. He said, I think it was over 200,000 people who were registered as citizens. That's what the man tells me now. And I think, like the lady said, we need to go over this with a fine-tooth comb. We are not too big that we can't do it, you know. We just have to have the will to do it. Those who are running the place, do they have the will to do it? Because plenty of those who were supposedly citizens of the Bahamas, they didn't participate in the election. I'm going to have to do a series of shows on that. How many did vote? How many registered? And all the different constituencies, and compare the numbers of those who participated in the election and those that didn't, who were on the register. You see, you have to look at all these things, Bahamians, because something is wrong, seriously wrong in our country. We're mixed right up. And some people don't seem to understand. I have a call on the line. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, what's happening? Speak a little louder for me now. I'm hearing you now. Speak a little louder.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, that's better, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Thompson, you realize that presently in the Bahamas, or really if you look around in Nassau, because the blind body can't see anything. You can only hear what people tell them. Okay?
Who's that?
But in Nassau, right?
Wait a minute, you said who's hearing what only people would tell?
No, the blind man will keep calling. The blind man will keep calling, justifying Haitians here and we only picking on Haitians. He talking about the Chinese who on the spot on East Street and on top of there by Baltimore.
Yes.
Down there by Brainerd, right?
Yes.
But when we look around, I mean in Nassau, right, it seems as if everybody from every nation is here.
Yeah, we got too many of them. I'm not disagreeing with that.
You know, and it seems as if these persons who are here, most of them, right, you know, in America, they're getting rid of a lot of people, okay? Millions of people are being deported out of America. Some of them are leaving, and some of them are coming to the Bahamas. The Bahamas is a nice place, okay, no problem, okay? But our problem is, we got a Haitian problem from inception. The reason why we have a Haitian problem is, they come here illegally, you know, they get passports, they get whatever they want. They in the schools, all the schools are overcrowded with them, right? Jobs and everything, they dominate everywhere they go, right? But the bottom line is this, right? The burden they put on the Bahamian people is like, you have to take care of Haiti, and that's our mandate. Haitian before Bahamian. There's something wrong with that. You know, all of us may be the same complexion, but the problem is, Haitians have their own nation called Haiti.
Yes.
Okay? And that's someplace where they brag about, but they never want to go there, they visit. You know, but they say it's too dangerous to go, but they're visiting all the time to go see their family, okay? Mr. Thompson, how could these individuals, I mean, like, want their country to be so great, and everyone runs from it, and other people's country, and feel as if they're battling the citizens in their own country?
Yes.
And a deep thing that, Mr. Thompson, out of all the foreign nationals that are here, right, the biggest offender of our democracy is the Haitian, because there's no foreign national who sees fit to be on the airways. I'm talking about Guardian Radio. They got like 3 or 4 different shows with just Creole and Haitian, this, Haitian, that, okay? For 14 years, they had it going, and they're going to be 15 years, like, I guess, next year, right?
Yeah, okay.
But the problem is, we need to get rid of these Haitians out of this country because they've been here too long, and you know, most of them are illegal anyhow. Have our passport. The government saying like it's okay. Mr. Fred Mitchell, like he is the Minister of Immigration and Animal. That's on my foreign affairs, right?
Foreign affairs, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, he's a dangerous man to our democracy. Very dangerous because the blind eye, he turns to them. Okay? We do a serious problem with Mr. Johnson.
No, we do, but Carla, we do have a serious problem with immigration. There's no doubt about that.
And why?
We have never seen, in spite of the numbers that are here, we have never had any mass deportation of strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders out of this country. Other countries are doing it. The Dominican Republic did it. We haven't done it here.
And this is the Dominican Republic, they are like neighbors to Haiti, right? And from inception, Haitians got their election, right? I mean, they won their independence in 1804, right?
Yes.
And the first thing they did, right, was invade Dominican Republic for 21 years, okay? For 21 years, they ran in that country, and just seeing what they're doing here, they try to use the Dominican Republic. That's why the Dominican Republic, they don't play with them.
I don't blame them.
Because when they get into the place, everybody got a bunch of babies, and then you send it off into the system, and then all the station, and it isn't like they try to assimilate the population
into the population. Yes.
They have this thing where it's all about Haitian, and this Creole. We got Creole songs in the hospital all over the place. Why we pandering to Haitians? We have a lot of
you have a valid point, because
why do we pander to the ones who really want to steal this country for free? Haitians. Why do we do? We speak English. Why we speak it? Whenever they talk, that's their business. We don't want to know it. It's English-speaking country.
English-speaking, yes.
And then it's like all these other nationals who have different tongues. You know what they do? Even if they don't speak our language, at least they assimilate. They stay in their corner and they be decent with us.
Yes.
It's only ways all in our business, all in the police force, all in immigration, all in talk about run for politics. They need to go home and fix that home they have. It's a lot of land. And they want to come in other people's country, buy land, build homes, and even to say squat. And what we doing to that? Nothing, basically. They talk about, we let's not be our homes down. Yeah, you know, the homes down. What about the people who live in the homes? Did they report them? No. What sense that making? They're doing that to what they're doing it for.
And at whose,
put them in a bad place, okay?
And at whose expense?
At the people expense.
Payment people expense, yes.
Every single time. We must feel sorry for them. And there's somebody bleeding out with this Haitian thing. It's sad. Very sad. Mr. Thompson, do you realize in America, Haitians never assimilated to Black American? Never. As in the Bahamas, they rather be around rich people that try to get off of them. And then what they do, in their own place, they build something, they in the top, but they split in that place.
Okay.
They don't hire the Indians.
All right, caller. Well, we want to. I thank you for your contribution. No, thank you very much. He has been stressing what he sees as the problems with a certain group of people. And what are we going to do about this? Because I can tell you, because I have the evidence to prove it, that we have people in this country with fraudulent documents purporting to be Bahamian, who could never be Bahamian. Do you know Haitians could never be Bahamians in this country? Do you know that? There is no way a Haitian could be a Bahamian citizen. No way. The Constitution doesn't allow for it. So you see any Haitian with any piece of paper talking about he's a Bahamian? Can't be no Bahamian. Their own country don't allow it. Their own Constitution don't allow it. They will always be what they are, wherever they go. They could never renounce anything because our Constitution says you have to renounce. And they cannot renounce. And that's the problem, Bahamians. They got all these people around here doing foolishness and nonsense. The immigration problem and the citizenship problem is a major national problem that needs to be dealt with. Otherwise, it's going to do untold damage to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You won't even know this place. Yes, they are in our police force. Yes, they're in immigration. Yes, they're in the schools. How much more of this crap we can take from them? And there are other nationals too who are there. That's why it is so difficult. We got to share what we have with a foreign entity. In fact, Dr. Miles, I'm going to speak to that when I get back from the break. We're going to go to break. The lines are open 3260272, 8130271, 5024571. I want you to express your views on our protection and our safety in the Bahamas, because Bahamians, this is a big problem. It is a very serious problem. And we need a national government that can solve problems. We don't need a national government going to be sitting on their backside, pandering to strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outside. I can't have the country. We have enough problems as it is now. Bahamians have to do something about it. And we can, We can do something about it. This is Professor Sidney McArdle, Walter Thompson. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
This is Lenny Green from the Quiet Storm, inviting you to join me tonight starting at 7 p.m. as I serve you that ear candy that you love, baby. I'm dropping all your favorite slow jams like this. Even this. So lock in with me. It's the Quiet Storm, baby, on the Bahamas #1 for R&B. It's Global 99.5 FM.
Perfume Bar is saying bye-bye summer with our buy one, get one 25% off promo. Stock up on your sizzling summer fragrances, Red Hot Cosmetics, Cooling Cosmetics, and Bijou Turner Beach Babe accessories. Bye-bye summer, let's BOGO, only at the Perfume Bar.
We can fix it. General Appliance Company, number 233 Market Street, is the place you've been looking for to repair your AC units, commercial and residential, and vehicle AC repairs too. General Appliance Company sells, repairs, and order parts for refrigerators, stoves, freezers. They can order boards for new and used TVs. They repair small home appliances like irons, blenders, fans, and much more. General Appliance Company, easiest way to get the parts you need, best place to get it fixed. Call General Appliance Company, number 233 Market Street, 323-6086, 323-6086.
When you shop Y Cares, you can afford to look good, and that includes your students. Featuring uniforms from all the major schools here in New Providence and some in the Family Islands, plus belts, neckties, and underclothes for the boys, and jumpers, tights, and underwear for the girls. Slides, neckties, shoes, and socks for all the students in your house. That school bell is about to ring, and before it does, you need to visit one of the 3 Y Care locations: Bahama Avenue, East Street South, or Prince George.
Steve Harvey here from the Steve Harvey Morning Show. Everybody knows that I love to chill out with great music. There's only one place you can get this tonight at 7 p.m.
As soon as you clock off from work, make sure you lock right into me. I'm Lenny Green from the Quiet Storm, inviting you to come on over. I've got all of that R&B ear candy that you love. Plus, we'll engage in conversations inside a confession love and so much more. And you never know who's going to drop by. It's the Quiet Storm, all getting underway tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on Global 99.5. I'm Lenny Green from the Quiet Storm.
East Street to Blue Hill Road. It's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is the last portion of the show. I appreciate those calls that came in today to the show. I really appreciate that. If you're talking about protection and the safety of the Bahamian people of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, I really appreciate that. I want to hear from the Family Islands also. But we're going to have to do something. Now, let me just say this to the Bahamian people. We cannot sit back and wait on a government that is in place that may not move speedily as they ought to on these national issues. We got a call on the line. Let me take this call. Call you live on here. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good afternoon, Professor.
Hey, what you say, man?
Everything blessed. And good afternoon, Bahamas.
Yes,
I'm going to get my last little thing in.
Yeah, go ahead. Go right ahead.
Professor, I I was seeing how these schools them keep on striking and things like that. I know what they're doing. They don't want us to get this full education. Professor, you know much law I didn't find out. We have what we people don't use. Professor, we guys said a word about so everybody can know. Professor, let me stop and say this. I went to visit one clinic, man. Everybody, within the visit hours. And then I gone home and I had gone back for some reason. Professor, you believe everybody like, what happened? Everybody passed away. Everybody died. What happened? The place was full. When I gone back, the place was empty. That was on July the 3rd.
Okay.
That was so bad. But Professor, let me go on with this. They playing this game with us so we don't understand this Constitution. You know, Mr. The Honorable Fred Richard put a figment there. You cannot go to the immigration office. Let me say it again. You cannot go by immigration office without your whoever you are, Jamaican, Haitian, Cuban, or Mexican, without your Cuban passport and your work permit in it. You hear what I say, Professor? I'll hear you answer before I go on.
Okay.
You hear what I say, Professor?
No, I heard what you said. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. That's in law. That's the 2013 Amendment to the Immigration Act. That's there. You cannot go to the immigration office without your wherever you come from, passport and your work permit in it. You cannot walk in the Bahamas without that. So we keep playing with this education. We don't know that. So let's leave that one alone. Now, the education. I said it before. I will say it again. You got to teach our children free trade of making money and learn how to swim. And first, I can go with the government thing. First, let me tell you something. My mother, she used to work for government. Okay. And listen here, you see how this water move the landmark? The worst thing and do in them hot days is steal something from the government. They fire you right on the spot and you have to pay it back. Now, that's a place where you go to steal money. Allegedly now, that's a place where you go to steal money. My days, my mother's growing up, and one thing, you don't steal from the government and you don't write on the government school wall. That's the thing. You're mapping the whole building. They pick you paint the whole building. So I can leave that right there.
Okay. All right, caller. That's it? Okay, thank you, caller, for your contribution. Yes, there are some things that we didn't tolerate in the past. But now a whole lot of crap is going on. And some people believe that they should, do things that are not in the best interest of the country. And if you work for the government of the Bahamas, you should not be stealing from the government of the Bahamas, not even from the private sector. Okay, so I work in the private sector, and I don't want to steal from anybody. I would work for the money, but I don't have a problem with that. But the stealing part is out, whether it's government or private. So we got to deal with that. Now, just before I took the last call, I wanted to say some things to the Bahamian people, because if a sitting government is very lax and lazy in dealing with these national issues, it's going to take the Bahamian people to take action. That's what's going to have to happen, Bahamians. Enough of you out there have to be prepared to be well organized for the salvation of your country. Certain things can be done. We got the court system right there, we haven't used it. There were some people who were preparing to go through it, but it never reached the court. That's an option that we still have. When people are aggrieved, they say the judiciary is there. We're going to put that to the test. That has to be tried and tested. We have seen where people take ordinary law to circumvent statute law. I mean, not ordinary law, which is statute law, to circumvent constitutional law. That's happening right in this country today. We have to fix that. There are some things the government of the Bahamas has not fixed. They've been knocking around for 60 years and haven't fixed it yet. In fact, not the foreign affairs minister, but the minister for works, you had a couple of them. but the recent one, the one that's there now, talks about long-standing problems, age-old problems, that even existed before his time, before he came to the Ministry of Works. And of course, you heard what Mr. Davis said about the light. Okay? The point is, there are those who have the authority to correct some things in this country, and they're not doing it. We have more problems now than ever before. It's going to take the citizenry to be well organized constitutionally to take action. Otherwise, we can lose our country. For somehow, some people got blinders on them, for some reason or another, and their personal interest supersedes the national interest of the Bahamian people. Either elected personalities or appointed personalities, because you got them on both sides. And here we are, as a nation, we are moving from pillar to post while we're going through this exercise. We're not making any real progress, you know. What we was established to be as a nation has never been achieved. We got 53 years that went by. Hasn't been achieved yet. We are running out of time, Bahamians, to be able to save the Commonwealth of Bahamas as we know it. Now, Dr. Miles Monroe warned those people at the Nassau Guardian about those programs they have on, these foreign programs. He warned the government what that could do to a nation like the Bahamas. You can't have two nations in one nation. That can't work. Now you have other foreigners from other nations. You don't have their language on the airwaves. When you start segmenting your country, particularly with people who don't want to assimilate with the Bahamian people, that's a problem. That's a big problem. And that's staring you right in your face. These are bold, presumptuous, disagreeable people. And they show it in a very negative way. They want to be in charge. They want to run things. They got their own breakup country. They have an election in, I believe, no, it's supposed to be December of this year. They haven't had it for 10 years, 12 years, somewhere around there. But they got their own country to fix. This is why you have a lot of people coming here to the Bahamas. They don't want to leave. You know, the people from Guyana want to leave in their time for them to leave. They don't want to leave. They want to stay right here. You have to ship them out of here. Just like you have to do with all of these foreign nationals over here. Even some Americans don't want to leave. So we have to have a strong policy, but we got the law to deal with. But whatever we're going to do, we have to take a hard stand when it comes to immigration and citizenship. We have too many people with fraudulent documents pretending to be Bahamian. And that could easily be proven. But the man tell me the 200,000 who are on that register, over 200,000 on that register are Bahamian. Now I'll just leave that right there for the time being. That's what the man say. That's what Mr. Thompson said, the man in charge of the election process. They've been checked out, and they are Bahamian citizens. The point is, we have to listen to what our leaders are saying. But I know one thing. When they were taking the census, they deliberately passed certain houses. And I'm not counted in the census that they took the last time. Many of my family members are not counted in the census, And other people have told me they didn't come to their house like they did before and counted those people. It looked as if they were looking for certain people who they wanted to pick and add to the census. They passed my place up and down and they never stopped once. But they say the census is complete. I'm not in the census. So that census is inaccurate. They're saying X number of people are here. That figure is false. It's not true. Because my name is not counted. Many of my family names are not counted in it. So the census is false. The point is we have to do better in the way we run this place today. It is very awkward. And there are things you can do about it. The government doesn't want to do nothing about it? Fine. There's a way to deal with that government. There's a way the citizenry can do things constitutionally, because the Constitution allows for it. We can take action against that government. There's room to do that. We have to be serious about it, because these are dangerous problems that are allowed to just fester and grow. Our safety and our protection is being compromised. And I know what I'm talking about because I got the evidence to prove it. Do you have the evidence to prove it? When you have people who are in charge of things, acting and behaving as if the supreme law doesn't exist, or they could make up any crap that they want to make up and say that's what we're going to go by. And we sit right here on our backsides and just accept the foolishness and the nonsense that's going on in this country. We have to bring it to a stop, Bahamians. Otherwise, we won't have a country. You heard what some of the callers have said today. This is a long-standing problem, 53 years since we became a nation. We have not yet achieved what we set out to do as a nation. It has not been achieved. We need to take a serious look at that, baby. Dr. Miles Monroe was the one who warned us about having foreign languages in here. All these different languages. People bring their culture with their language. They bring all their bad ways into the country. And if you're not careful, this can cause serious problems. It's happening right in Ukraine right now, with Russia. I think that war going on now for 5-6 years. I didn't know it was that long until I heard the report. I think it was, yesterday. Time creeps up on you. We got 53 years that creep on us as a independent nation. 60 years for majority rule, right on up to now. Next January the 10th, 1967. From 1967, that'll be about 60 years coming up. 2027. And that time isn't coming back, Bahamian. The damage has already been done. We have to do something to stop it. We have to do something to prevent further damage to our reputation. Because we are seeing by the behavior of our people, not all of them, some of them, the damage that has been done. So you have to be careful who you appoint and whom you elect. And I believe a lot of us are not a good judge of character, We just pick any old crappy person and give them a position, give them a name, give them a status, and they mess us up. Because they are connected to a particular personality or group of individuals who give them a pass. And the whole nation has to bear the burden of that, which we ought not to bear. But we have to take action, serious action, to save our country. It's going to be a big fight, Bahamians. It's not going to be easy. You see all these people coming here? They don't want to leave. You have to ship them out. They want to stay here. Because the place where they came from has been trashed. They don't want to go back and help stabilize their own country. Now, with Ukraine, the president is asking the people to come, and I understand many Ukrainians have gone back to help Ukraine. That's a good thing. The point is, there are those in the Bahamas from other nations. They won't go back home. But it's their own country. God divided this place upon this planet and gave every man, every woman his spot on the planet. Haiti for Haitians, the Bahamas for Bahamians, United States for the Americans, Canada for the Canadians. This was not by accident, Bahamian. God had the divine hand in the affairs of men. Yes, you got human governments, and God allows that, and people have choices to make. They make some bad choices too, very bad choices. And people suffer, and after suffering they die. So a lot of things are happening in our country which are not in our best interest at all, period. But you got the wrong set of people running things who are using their authority against the best interests of our people. That's unfortunate. But that's what we have, Bahamians. We got to face the harsh reality that we are in very serious difficulties. We don't fix it, you ain't gonna like what will happen to this place. Because you don't want no strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders running your country, fixing it the way they want to fix it, and ostracizing Bahamians. The Bahamas for Bahamians, and Bahamians have to rise up and do something about it. The Constitution gives you the authority to do it. So we're not without the law on our side. We're not without hope. There are things we can do that others wish they could have done if they were in the Bahamas. And we're playing around with it. And some things that happened in the past, which were not allowed, we're allowing it to happen here today. And that's not a good thing. Our protection and our safety is being endangered. And unfortunately, we have people in our midst who are doing just that. They don't mean it's no good. And there are some of us, unfortunately, who are only interested in personal advancement for themselves at the expense of the nation. Having them kind of people controlling things is very dangerous. Extremely dangerous. That is no good for the country. We've had some. And we got some right now on the scene who are doing this foolishness. And they have to be stopped, Bahamians. And I want to help you to wake up. And you will know exactly who they are. Because the evidence is right in front of your face. And some of you are so blinded because you're not thinking objectively about the welfare of your country. You've been taken over by some other things. And that's not helping the country. There are a lot of people who are here legally, young people in this country who are being oppressed. I know of some who came back to this place, which is their country, you know. They're no strangers, no foreigners, no aliens, no outsiders. I ain't talking about that group. I talk about genuine, good-natured people who have come back to help to make the Bahamas a better place. That's a good thing. We want to encourage that. But we can't have people who have power in their hand, and the only thing they could do is to use it. I can use this power to stop him or stop her or stop them from advancing whatever it is they want to do. Those are blockers. And they smile right in your face and tell you a bold lie. Okay? You got to know who these people are. You got them all over the place, Bahamians. And we here giggling and laughing with them kind of people? Not Professor Sidney Thompson. I can't do that. Because that's against the nation called the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We got plenty undone work yet to do. It hasn't been done yet. And you cannot wait on a government or an administration that is not even working on it, not showing any interest in it. Sometimes governments have interest in other things. And the people may find they have a different interest from the government. That happened. It's happening now. And the point is, we have a duty to correct the government by taking appropriate constitutional action. And I've said sometime in my shows, unusual constitutional action. Do you know what that means? There's some heavy, tough decisions you got to make in order to save this place. Because some people are very stubborn, very hard-headed, very difficult to deal with. And you have to dig deep in. You got the law on your side to protect you. That's the wonderful thing about this place. You're not without hope. We can get things done, even if those who have been given authority, whether appointed or elected, are not doing it. There's something you can do about it. And that's the beauty of living in the Commonwealth of Bahamas. But sitting on your backside doing nothing, grumbling and complaining every day, that don't count. That can't help us. The Bahamians, I want you to understand that. And of course, now tomorrow is open line Friday. You can open up to talk to anything. And then, of course, Monday is Constitution Day. That's my day. That ain't for nobody else. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson, Bahamians, as a broadcaster. It's a tough job to be honest and upfront with the Bahamian people. But that's the way I have to be. I ain't gonna be nothing else. I ain't coming on here to lie to you and just make you feel good because of what somebody say. No, sir. If it isn't according to law, constitutional law, I can't go along with it. If the government violates the Constitution, I can't go along with it. You hear what I say, Bahamian? You shouldn't go along with it either. You tell them, no, sir. That is wrong. We can't support it. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. I want to thank all those people who called in today. I really appreciate that. Open line tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow is Friday, Mr. Producer. I think tomorrow is Friday. Open line tomorrow, and you can discuss anything you want to talk about. That's open line right now. Monday is Constitution Day. That's my day. I ain't giving up to nobody. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Have a pleasant afternoon.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B in the Bahamas. Yes, it's Global Radio 99.5. Let's go. Geeky.